What if I told you that disappearing from the map could be the best thing you could do for your life? I'm not talking about locking yourself in your room and doing nothing. I'm talking about stepping away from everything around you that keeps trapping you in the same cycle day after day. Friends who don't push you forward, habits that sabotage you, routines that lead nowhere. Do you know that feeling of living on autopilot, like no matter how hard you try, nothing really changes? Sometimes to break free from a bad cycle, you need to disappear. Not from the world, but from yourself. Think of a snake shedding its skin. For it to grow, it needs to get rid of the old skin. A solitary, uncomfortable, but necessary process. If it resists, if it doesn't let go of the old skin, it simply stops growing. Life is made of cycles. And if you don't learn to accept the end of one cycle and embrace the next, you'll stay stuck in a version of yourself that no longer makes sense. So in this video, I'll show you why disappearing from the map is the first step to rebirth. I'll teach you how to let go of what's holding you in place, reconnect with who you truly are, and prepare to live the best version of your life. Are you ready to start this journey? To understand why sometimes it's necessary to disappear, we first need to talk about life cycles and how they shape everything around us. Everything in life works in cycles. Just as seasons change, waves come and go, and the sun rises and sets, our lives also follow this natural rhythm of beginnings, middles, and ends. But do you know what the biggest problem is? Most people try to fight against it. They cling to what they already know, afraid of what might come next. But when you try to hold on to the end of a cycle, it's like trying to hold sand in your hands. It's gonna slip away no matter what. Now think of a time in your life when everything seemed perfect. Maybe you were in an amazing relationship, had your dream job, or were surrounded by friends who made everything feel easy, and then, out of nowhere, everything fell apart. The relationship ended, you were let go from the job, and the friends drifted away. No matter how hard you tried to fix things, nothing seemed to work. It's tough, isn't it? It feels like the universe is against you. But here's the truth, change is inevitable. Resisting it only makes the process more painful. Change is like a wave. If you try to swim against it, you'll tire yourself out and stay stuck. But if you learn to ride that wave, you can use it to your advantage. Sometimes that means disappearing, not to escape the world, but to find the space and time to rebuild yourself. But do you know what happens when you try to resist change? That's when the suffering begins. The pain of change will never be greater than the suffering of resistance. Think about that for a moment. How many times have you tried to hold on to something that was slipping through your fingers? It could have been a disconnected relationship, a friendship that no longer made sense, or even a routine that kept you stuck in the same place. This is the suffering that comes from attachment. We cling to what's familiar even when it hurts us. Deep down, we're afraid of the unknown. It's easier to stay with what we know than to face something new, even if that new thing could be better. But let me tell you a truth, the more you resist, the more you suffer. It's like rowing against a current. You tire yourself out, you wear yourself down, and in the end, you realize you haven't moved at all. Now, think of a tree in the fall. Its yellow dry leaves need to fall. If it resisted this, it would never make room for the new leaves of spring. Nature doesn't resist change, it goes with the flow. But we insist on holding on to what should have already gone. When you don't let go of something, you stall your own evolution. Disappearing from the map, even for a while, is like letting those leaves fall. It's a chance to stop, look inward, and accept that certain chapters need to come to an end. And that's why disappearing from the map becomes so powerful. Not as a way to run away, but as a courageous act to disconnect from what's holding you back and make space for something new. Disappearing from the map isn't about hiding or running from your problems. It's about stepping away from everything to see your life more clearly. It's about creating a space where you can leave the old behind and make way for the new. Think about it. It's impossible to clean up a messy room without first taking everything out of place, right? First, you need to step back, organize, and decide what makes sense to keep. The same thing happens in your life. Disappearing from the map is like cleaning out your mind and heart, and for that, you need silence and distance. Disappearing from the map can be simple. Turning off your phone for a few days, spending some time alone in nature, or even going on a trip to disconnect from everything. The goal is always the same, to step back and better understand your life. But to do that, you need to learn to let go of everything that's holding you back. Letting go is one of the hardest and most liberating things you can do. Because to grow, you need to let go of what no longer serves you. The problem is, we're so used to what we have that letting go feels scary. Now think of a balloon. It can only rise when the ropes holding it to the ground are cut. Those ropes in your life are friendships that drain your energy, habits that keep you stuck, and thoughts that make you believe you're not good enough. You know these things don't help you move forward, yet you still hesitate to let go. Why? The answer lies in fear. Fear of emptiness. Fear of what if. But here's the truth. You lose nothing by letting go. You gain freedom. Letting go isn't about ignoring or forgetting the past, it's about understanding that it has already served its purpose. Nature shows this to us. Look at trees in the fall. They let their leaves fall, not because they want to be empty, but because they know that by letting go of the old, they're preparing for the new. The same goes for you. Everything you're holding on to right now, relationships, beliefs, routines, is taking up space that could be used for something much greater. But to let go, you need courage. It means saying goodbye to parts of your life that were once good, but no longer make sense for who you're becoming. It means letting go of what's comfortable but keeps you from growing. When you decide to let go, something amazing happens. You create space for new opportunities, new ideas, and new people to come into your life. And it's in this space that your transformation begins. So the question is, what are you holding on to that you need to let go of? Because the new can only come when you leave the old behind. Letting go is just the beginning. Once you release everything that was holding you back, it's time to be reborn. This is when you look at your life and realize, now I can be whoever I want to be. But rebirth doesn't happen all at once. It's built step by step through the choices you make. And this is where many people get lost. They let go, but they remain stuck in the past because they don't know how to start a new chapter. It's like opening a blank book and staring at the page without knowing what to write. What you need to understand is that the power to restart is 100% in your hands. This is the moment to ask yourself, who do I want to be moving forward? What kind of life do I want to create? What truly matters to me? Rebirth is about redefining what success, happiness, and purpose mean to you. And more importantly, it's about aligning your actions with this new vision. If you used to live trying to please others, now is the time to prioritize your own happiness. If you were stuck in routines that drained you, now is the moment to create habits that propel you forward. How do you know you're being reborn? When you start to feel lighter. When you realize you don't need to prove anything to anyone. When you feel like you're living as your true self, not as others expect you to be. Rebirth isn't about going back to who you were. It's about becoming someone better, stronger, and more connected to what truly matters. And the best part? You don't need anyone's permission to do this. The only yes you need is your own. And what happens when you learn to live in harmony with these cycles of change? True lightness begins. That's when you discover what it really means to live. When you accept that life is made of cycles, everything changes. The weight of things becomes lighter and you stop fighting against the inevitable. You realize that endings aren't the enemy. They're just the beginning of something new. Think of ocean waves. They come and go, always in motion. If you try to hold them back, it would be useless. Life works exactly the same way. Every ending is like a wave returning to the sea, creating space for the next one to arrive. Accepting change means living with more ease. You stop fearing loss because you understand that nothing is permanent. And that's liberating. Every phase of life brings its own beauty and lessons, but none of them are meant to last forever. When you learn to flow with the cycles, everything gains new meaning. The end of a relationship stops being a failure and becomes a chance to rediscover yourself. Losing a job is no longer a reason to despair, but a push to explore something new. What used to feel like an obstacle now becomes an opportunity. More than accepting, you begin to welcome change, because each cycle brings the promise of growth. And when you embrace this, life becomes simpler, smoother, and much more meaningful. If there's one thing you need to take away from this video, it's this. The secret to living in peace isn't controlling the cycles of life, but learning to flow with them. Let go of what no longer makes sense. Take time to reconnect with yourself and be ready to start again, stronger and more aligned with who you truly are. Now tell me, what are you holding on to that you should have let go of already? Write it in the comments. I'd love to know. And don't forget, share this message with someone who needs to hear it too. If you're ready to take the next step in your evolution, we have more incredible content waiting for you. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.